And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas,
where we talk about all your favorite new release scary movies.
This week we are talking about Late Night with the Devil, which was the new release horror of 2024 that I was most looking forward to.
Yeah, I remember seeing trailers a while ago. I mean, it did its rounds for the past year or so, right?
It premiered at South by Southwest in March of last year. Of 2023.
Okay, yeah, so and we basically only heard rave reviews for a really long time, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, is what I would say.
Do you have a movie for this year that you're more excited to see than this one?
A scary movie or a movie in general?
Scary movie.
Okay. Honestly, I don't think I pay attention enough to what's coming out. This was one that I was pretty interested in, but I'm sure there's something out there that I don't know of yet.
I have a long list. Well, I know the movie you were most looking forward to is Doom 2.
Yes,
and we already got that. And this was the horror I was most looking forward to, and we already got that. And both were great. So I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
feeling good.
Did we get the new Saw movie this year? When's that come out?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't heard much about it since beyond that it was happening.
I'll look forward to that.
I could do without, if I'm being honest.
Saw X was fun. What do you mean?
It was fun, but I just, I'm fatigued, I guess.
I gotcha.
Well, Late Night with the Devil, like I said, premiered at South by Southwest in March of 2023. So this has been in the making for a really long time. And it just had its theatrical release about a week and a half ago in the US. It was written and directed and edited by Cameron and Colin Cairns, starring David Dastmalchian.
And if you don't know who he is, he's in Dune. And you're not going to know what character he is. He's also Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad. And he probably did a lot of other cool...
He's in The Dark Knight.
He's in The Dark Knight, you're right.
He's in Prisoners.
He's in Prisoners. And he's a really, really talented... And I will say they always make him play weird little freaks, and I didn't realize how much
bit parts, yeah.
I didn't realize how much charisma and how much carrying power he had, and I'm really excited. I hope they let him do leading man roles more.
I know. I'm really happy for him for his career for this movie because he was so fucking charismatic.
Yeah, he was just oozing with confidence. I was really interested in what he was putting down.
He had held the movie together for me. If he wasn't as charismatic as he was, it wouldn't have held me.
There was a lot of subtle stuff in his performance because it's there's clearly a sadness behind him, and he's playing this perfect role of a late night host very well, almost like a parody of it, but still feels pretty real. So I enjoyed him a lot.
Yeah. Well, since this is a new release, we are gonna keep spoilers to a minimum for the beginning. We'll let you know when we're gonna go full spoiler mode. But for now, back at the box summary, David Dastmalchian stars as the host of a 1970s talk show who on Halloween night invites a possessed girl onto the show in an attempt to boost ratings.
Yep, that about sums it up.
And yeah, I thought that made for a really fun premise for a found footage movie. The way it's the footage from the broadcast is really fun. And I'll elaborate more onto that in the spoilers section because I'll talk about maybe how it was a little different than I expected, but I really enjoyed it. The budget for the movie was only $2 million, and they had so many different production companies involved in producing this movie.
We were giggling. There were 10... Yeah, the guy counted. There were 10 logos that came before the movie started. Mm-hmm. And everyone was laughing every time a new one came.
Giggling in the theater. This movie clearly was a passion project that took teamwork from everyone to get made. And that's why I'm really happy that it did get made and that is as good as it was. Something that I think is really, really fun about this movie. This is just a corny fun fact. Guess how much money this movie made on the Sunday of its release?
I don't know how much.
$666,666.
That sounds like a gimmick that they somehow set up. That had to be
But
they only purposely sold that many tickets or something.
I don't know, but the numbers add up. So
That's
it's
funny.
made over $3 million so far. So it has surpassed its budget, which is what we want from
an indie
horror. Yeah, and that's why it was also really important to me that we saw it.
Yeah, get to double your budget, and then you basically paid for yourself.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, this movie has had a little bit of controversy.
Oh yes. Yeah, so it uses AI art for a couple little title cards.
It's just like stills that come up where it, like the show goes to commercial break.
Yes.
And so it's like, we'll be right back.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this.
AI art.
So, I do agree that you should be completely ridiculed if you use AI art in your movie like this. I do think that it's reasonable to demand that this not become the norm. I think AI art's pretty gross, and it is mostly theft from other artists anyway. Mm-hmm. It's double theft. It's basically taking all the other art to make this, and then also is taking away a job from people. So I think it sucks. However, they made this movie prior to that discussion really being a thing, and they were experimenting. And from my understanding, it was like they started at that point and then edited. When you look at them, they're pretty clearly AI art. Like, I feel like I would have caught that, especially the skeleton one. So I think it is a little lame. However, I don't think it's like worth boycotting the movie over. There's plenty of other art and plenty of other important set pieces. And set pieces is not the right word. Different subsets of artists that were a part of this movie. And I think taking away money from them is not doing anything for your cause. So I think it's still worth seeing the movie. I think we should continue to... Well, personally, on a more personal note, we should be banning AI the direction it's going currently anyway. So we're like weeks away from AI video of some deep fake politician causing like serious issues. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am at with it, but don't use it in your movies. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, I
that was a ramble.
Really don't think it was necessary, but like you said, it was before the strike started, where this was a very central, like AI art was a very central part of the writer's strike and then the SAG, Screen Actors Guild strike. So it's hard. Like, you can't act like they broke the rules of what all the companies came to or anything, but that doesn't make it right.
I find it to be that like AI is a great tool, but that's all it should be. It should not replace. Well, and in this situation, I feel like, did it not?
And that's kind of, yeah, I guess you could debate that. What they said, what the director came out and said was, in conjunction with our amazing graphics and production design team, all of whom worked tirelessly to give this film the 70s aesthetic we'd always imagined, we experimented with AI for 3 still images, which we edited further and ultimately appear as very brief interstitials.
Interstitials,
sorry. In the film.
Yeah. Like I said, that's why it's not worth boycotting this movie over. You should still pay to see it. There's still a lot to like.
There's maybe like 3 seconds
of the movie. The reason, even if it's 3 seconds, the reason people are upset is because they're worried that your big production companies are going to cut corners.
Yes.
And
they
fuck that.
already are. Roadhouse used AI of the act, like mimicking the actors' voices for stuff they didn't want to bring them back into.
I really don't like that.
In theory, I guess that's theorized. We don't have... I don't think they've come out and admitted that like they did for this.
You know, it's fucked up because I bet if you're a young actor getting into stuff, if you want to get on a movie, you probably sign that right away immediately that we can use AI.
Well, this was
the only people that get away with not having to sign that are people that are already stars. So
this would have been Roadhouse's Gyllenhaal and what's his McGregor.
Was he in that?
That's why
I didn't even know that he was in that.
He's done some talk shows and podcasts that people disagree with his appearances on.
Huh.
Yeah, because
very interesting.
Conor McGregor and...
Oh, I think you meant Ewan.
No.
When you said McGregor, I was like, yeah, you're right, Conor McGregor. Oh yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah,
I was going to say
Wikipedia.
Worse things. I was going to say a psycho, and then I feel like that's stigmatizing.
Yeah, let's not stigmatize anyone, but he actually needs a lot of help and probably to get off the steroids.
Yeah, that's not good.
we'll leave that at that. I do agree with you that this movie is also something we should be seeing. I think it's really important to, despite the AI art, it's hard to like say, yeah, you should still see it. But I think it's important that we are seeing indie movies.
Oh, always, yeah.
I think it's really important that we're putting our money into these creative projects because, you know, not every movie is like this. This is not like your stereotypical trash.
Okay. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean your stereotypical trash?
No, I'm just saying, like, this is doing something that's, like, more unique. And,
for sure.
like, this is where I want my money to be going versus, like, a possession movie I've seen 40 times.
Understood. Okay. I will also say that the big studios, the ones that are more likely to abuse AI in the future, indies are not going to do that. So, you know, or at least not to the same degree. Yeah. That is a big worry for me. Mm-hmm. We gotta, maybe we don't not ban AI, but there needs to be regulation on that shit quick.
Well, and that was why it was such a big talking point during the
strikes. Yeah. I just mean government regulation.
But yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to get that out there before we got into, you know, our discussion. Going into this movie, did you have any expectations?
No, I had no expectations. Other than I thought it was going to be good. That was
also my expectation.
I was like, hey, it's going to be a fun time.
And my expectation was met.
Yeah. I don't know what else. I guess I thought it was going to be scary. It was hard to tell, though, from the trailers.
Did you feel like it was scary?
No. I did not feel like it was scary.
I didn't really think it was that scary either. There was like 1 or 2 points where I was like, uh-oh. But
it was more of a drama in some ways.
With like horror plot.
Yes.
So, it's definitely still horror. It's just not like your friend who's afraid of horror could probably watch it with you.
Yeah, it's definitely like not that scary. There's a couple moments, like some gross moments, but overall, I mean, it's not that scary, but it is kind of a fun drama, and I like how the story unfolds as a part of this show.
Yeah. Very much enjoyed the entire story. I also very much enjoyed the aesthetic. I think between the set, the costumes, the makeup, the like cinematography, I think it all does a really good job of capturing that 70s late night aesthetic, like very perfectly.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was like, yeah, this feels like it fits. I've seen a lot of people say that like it did not capture it well at all, but we don't know any better because we weren't there then. So it captures what we think it would have looked like.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. We weren't alive.
Yes.
We weren't alive for quite a while.
Yes. Yeah. It's a long time ago, but I have seen that complaint. I think it kind of nails the feeling.
I have not seen that complaint at all.
I think it nails the feeling though, which is like what's more important. Mm-hmm. Makes you think that, but it is shot like a late night show, which I think is what is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's that aspect of it is very fun, and the fact that it's found footage, but not from your normal shaky cam nonsense, but like from the camera that is on set is so fun to me.
It's also in 4:3 for that, which is very fun.
Yeah, I think this movie does a fun job with aspect ratio. It does change depending on
it changes like 3 times, 3 or 4 times.
What it is showing, which again, I don't want to say until we get to the spoiler part of things, but I think even that is used creatively and it keeps you like understanding what type of footage you're looking at.
Agreed.
And, of course, we have to say, David Dastmalchian, I think I just said it wrong, so good.
Yeah, he's great. Everyone really, I thought, had good performances in this, but he specifically, I was like, give him, as I said earlier, give him more leading roles, please.
Extremely charismatic, and I don't know if I expected that after seeing Polka Dot Man, that same dude would like pull out this shade of...
He's always playing weird little freaks. So
this wasn't a weird little freak.
Yeah, definitely not. He was a leading man.
Yeah, and I totally bought it. I felt like he looked like how I would imagine a 70s, 80s late night host.
Yep.
And he did like the TV voice, like the... Yeah, it was so good.
It was like, kind of corny. Mm-hmm. Kind of like clearly scripted.
And part of that is like the script obviously did a really great job of capturing that late night nonsense, but also him. He just did it so convincingly.
I'll say something I really like in movies, and I've only seen it a couple times, is where a very good actor has to portray a bad actor. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I think another example of that is Boogie Nights, where like everyone's just like very natural until the second they get to shooting the porn in this. They immediately just go, it's Julianne Moore and Mark Wahlberg, and immediately just become the worst actors ever. And it's like, that's so impressive that you're that good of an actor that you can like act that bad on purpose. Mm-hmm. And like, that's almost how I felt about him. It's not that it was bad. It was just like very like cheesy, like a late night show. And it's cool. And then, but the second that we get to the behind the scenes footage where it was not during the show, it was a commercial, all of a sudden you have this like very serious, believable performance again. Mm-hmm. So, and then he kind of like fluctuates in and out of that when he's like a little more scared or a little more confused about what's actually happening on the show. So very impressive.
Yeah, very much liked. Is there anything else you feel like you can like really say that isn't spoiler heavy?
No.
Yeah. I don't really think I can either.
I'd say it's a fun time. It's not that scary. It's unique and worth a watch.
I think it's very unique. I am excited to watch it again at some point. So I would definitely recommend going to see this. It will be on streaming in April, actually, but by late April. But frankly, if a theater near you was showing it, I thought that experience was really fun.
I'd say it's worth going to see. Mm-hmm. Why not? Get more fun indie stuff made.
That's the thing, right? Is we want those kinds of movies to be made. That's why when Sorry to Bother You was in theaters, which years ago at this point, we lived in Pittsburgh at the time, that was something where we were like, we have to go see that.
That movie is awesome. I haven't thought about it in a while.
And that's same with there's been certain films by like creators of color that we've been like, we have to go see that as well because like it is helping. We
just want more of that. We want to see more of those movies.
We want more diversity in our art. We want more low budget art. We want more creativity in our art. So when like we have the option to reward that, we think it's important to do that. So
agreed.
Go see this if you can. Well, let's
spoiler starting now.
Go full spoiler.
Okay, cool. How do we begin?
Why don't you read
the plot? Do you read the plot description? Okay, I'll read the whole plot description.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Wait.
Should we do our 15
I don't really
summaries?
Want to.
Oh, you just don't feel
like it? I don't feel like it. Can I just read the plot? Or do you have a good one?
I don't have one. I was just going to go late night host.
Dies. No, he doesn't die.
Late night host invites wacky guests to further his career, but he doesn't think that through very well.
Yep. Okay, here's the actual plot. So the film is presented as a documentary investigating an unexplained event that occurred on Halloween 1977 during the live broadcast of Night Owls with Jack Delroy, a successful late-night talk show. Through his television connections, Night Owls host Jack Delroy makes regular visits to California's Bohemian Grove, an elite camp for rich and powerful men. Prior to the film's narrative, his wife Madeline contracted lung cancer despite being a non-smoker, and she dies, which results in Night Owl's halting production. In order to recover his rating, Jack decides to do a special occultism-themed episode on Halloween night, and now the rest of the film is salvaged footage from that episode. Special guests for the show's episode include psychic Christo, skeptical former magician Carmichael the Conjurer, parapsychologist author June Ross Mitchell, and June subject Lily Diabo. During the broadcast, Christo is revealed to do cold readings until he suddenly experiences a premonition about someone named Minnie and is left shaken. Jack brings out Carmichael, who insists that Christo is a phony, but Jack supports him after pointing out that Minnie was the nickname he gave Madeline. After Christo argues with Carmichael, he becomes sick, projectile vomits, and is taken to a hospital during another commercial break. In an interview with June and Lily, the latter being the survivor of a satanic church's mass suicide, Carmichael is in disbelief over June's claims that Lily is connected to a demon she dubs Mr. Wriggles. Jack convinces June to conjure the demon before learning that Christo has died at the hospital. During the seance, Lily transforms into Mr. Wriggles, causing the electricity to go haywire, and she levitates in her chair. Carmichael challenges June by having Jack's sidekick, Gus McConnell, take part in a hypnotism demonstration that causes everyone in the studio to see worms coming out of Gus. While rewinding the tape in the production room, Leo learns that Lily indeed performed the things that happened. Jack is shocked to see Madeline in a single frame in the footage. Carmichael accuses him of setting everything up from the beginning. Lily transforms again and kills June, Gus, and Carmichael. The audience flees from the studio and Jack runs to the exit. Jack is suddenly transported into a nightmarish version of the show. He relives moments in the past before it is revealed that he is connected to Lily's satanic church and was responsible for Madeline contracting cancer, which was the price for the Night Owl's sudden fame. Madeline's spirit confronts Jack, and he stabs a dagger into her body. Everything shifts back to the now empty studio with a horrified Jack revealed to have stabbed Lily. Jack stands over the bodies of his guests as police sirens slowly get louder in the distance.
Woo!
That's the plot.
Very fun.
Yes. I really enjoyed, at first, I wasn't sure how to feel about this because this is really kind of corny narrative to set everything up.
I was like,
this is interesting. I don't know how I feel, but then it's introduced, the narrator is like, and this is like
the never revealed
footage. Welcome to Late Night with the Devil. And so like, it was presented as that the documentary was a real documentary, and Late Night with the Devil, while being the name of the movie, was also the name of the documentary that we were watching. Yes. And then I was like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, once that happened.
Son of a bitch.
Like, and I was like, it's a little goofy. And then I was like, I get it now.
Yeah, I definitely, when it started, I was like, I'm nervous. Why does this have like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Especially with like the corniest narrator voice.
Yeah, but then, like you said, thinking about it as a documentary that came out 20 years ago, because that's in my mind, it's like this documentary isn't new either.
Yeah.
You know? And so thinking about it from that angle, it's like an older documentary.
It
really
just really
fun.
works. I think especially with him, I remember like tapping you and giggling because he was like, it was like now showing Late Night with the Devil.
And we were like,
and
that's the name of the
I was like,
movie.
oh, I get it. Like, it just worked. It's a really funny how something like that, because had they not said that, had there not been the title card after the whole intro that said Late Night with the Devil, it wouldn't have worked. But the choice to have it, because it comes up on the screen too in some stupid old movie font. Sorry, it's not stupid, but old movie font, and says it. And then you start watching the actual episode. And there's constantly parts where, the film like cuts a little bit, or you have like frames get a little messed up. And I think it like kind of adds to that feeling. It happens a lot when there's like spooky things happening too.
Yeah, during like the possession sequences, things will skip a little bit, which was really fun. We kind of mentioned this earlier about the fact that for found footage, it's both the footage of the show interspliced with like what is going on behind the scenes during commercial breaks.
Because they basically said there was cameras
really
running.
Yeah, during commercial breaks, yeah. I thought that was a really fun way to kind of add in a lot of the context for what's happening and like its relevancy, not to the show, but also to our main character.
You know what I need someone to do, and kind of what I thought this was going to do, was that we wouldn't see what was happening during the breaks. Like, say it was just a pure horror movie.
That's what I actually was really surprised that they gave us that, but I didn't anticipate it from the trailers, but I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate it for this movie. I'm selling you another horror movie in the same vein. I think doing that without showing that, and basically every time you come back, there's clearly something bad happening in between takes, or in between, we have to like parse together while watching. That it's like hard. And so it kind of like, Memento's not a good example, but you know how you're like trying to figure out because you're going backwards
together.
It's like you're putting the pieces together like that. I think that would make a really fun horror movie. I have an idea. Nobody steal that.
Someone's going to take it.
I'm sure it's already been done, but that's kind of what I expected going in. So this was a different surprise, and I think it worked because the movie is more of a drama in my mind. So.
I definitely agree with that. Something that I know you felt surprised by was, or maybe you saw as like a negative, was that there is a part that kind of goes from footage to like what is in Jack's head.
Yeah, that is my biggest complaint about this movie, actually. I didn't know we were getting into that already. I'll talk on it though.
Did you feel like that really took you out of it though?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because I did not.
So there's a part in this movie where we go from it being the setup that I really like, it ends up like kind of going against that. So you start with it being, hey, this is found footage. This is this show. And now all of a sudden I'm in some other alternate reality of what Jack was seeing, but I'm not supposed to be able to see that. They broke the rules that their movie established. Mm-hmm. And that really bothered me and took me out of it because it's like, I want to only see the found footage. I only want to see what I'm supposed to see. What am I looking at now? Is this part of the documentary? Is this some psychic trip that I'm having, bringing me into Jack's mind? Did the demons imprint this on the footage of the found documentary and also increase or change the aspect ratio? Like, that really bothered me, and I think it doesn't work at all, honestly.
Well, I would say you're kind of doing the thing that you don't like doing with, like, arguing with the logic of the movie.
No. I think this is different because the movie set up rules.
Then it I know, but I also feel like some of what you're suggesting could be the reason is plausible.
That's fine. It just doesn't. It hurts the believability of the movie.
Well, it's not believable anyway.
That doesn't matter though, because I can have a suspension of disbelief, right? That's what I should say. It doesn't hurt the believability. It hurts my suspension of disbelief. I have suspension of disbelief where I can say, you know what? It makes sense that Carmichael was able to hypnotize everybody, including us as the audience. And that's why I was able to see the worms. Mm-hmm. Fine. That makes sense. It makes sense everything else that I'm seeing, but that part doesn't jive or like with what the rules the movie set up. Because it is supposed to be this found footage. So I'm asking, when those shots are happening, what am I looking at? As the viewer of this documentary.
You quite literally already came up with suggestions for what that was. Like, it's some weird psychic trip that the demon is, like, imprinting on the film. That's one way to read it.
Bruh, no one would be really... It just doesn't work for me.
You could read it like that. You could really... Like,
it's like a fourth wall break.
You could see it as them reenacting what they imagine Jack saw or what he later describes that he saw. And that's why it's in a different frame, because this is a modern, like, reenactment.
That would have been way more fun if they did that and just used different actors.
I mean, that would have been hilarious.
It just doesn't... That I just could have done without that, is what I'm saying. I don't think it added anything for me. I think it just took away.
Well, you literally earlier asked me, like, oh... This plot says he was connected to Lily's satanic church. And that is what was responsible for Madeline getting cancer. And I said, that's what that scene is showing.
I thought, for some reason, I didn't realize that the church was linked to the Grove thing. Yeah. But either way, I just don't... I feel like they can tell that story so subtly. And instead, it was kind of... Maybe I treated the audience like they were dumb, which maybe I am dumb because I was confused about that part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I just think that...
You needed it.
So I don't want but I don't want it.
What you said to me is I'm arguing in favor of the movie that it doesn't really hurt. I don't think it took me out of it. I don't think it ruined my
immediately I was like, well, that doesn't make sense anymore to me.
Okay, can you slow your roll now because you just word vomited for 5 minutes? I would say for me, it didn't really take away from my enjoyment of the movie. It didn't really take me out of it. I think if you're going to be... Like, yeah, if you're going based off the logic of the movie, maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the same time, I think it is kind of important for the meaning of the film and what the film is implying the whole time. It's kind of subtly implied, though, for a lot of it, so I think at some point it needed something heavy-handed to say, look, Jack did literally... sacrifice his wife for his career.
Oh, I figured that out before that scene that he sacrificed her, though.
I know, but I'm not, like, I don't think everyone's figuring that out.
Fine.
So we needed that reveal, and also there was a lot that was hinted out, like with the Grove and stuff. So, yeah. And with Lily saying that she knew Jack, but I don't think other people, like you, did not put that together, even with the scene.
Yeah, so they should have done it better. That's all I'm saying.
But I put it together because of the scene.
Oh, I just assumed the Grove was doing something satanic. I guess I didn't realize the Grove is fully linked to that. But that doesn't matter. My point is...
Okay, I just don't think we need to talk about it longer, because it's already been maybe 7 minutes of discussing this one issue.
Well...
Maybe less, but... I think it's an agree to disagree thing.
Okay.
It didn't bother me. I also did ask Mount Dalton, the actor, if he had, because he saw it as well, I asked him if that bothered him at all. And
he said no?
He said no.
No, yeah. I just think you can't set up rules like that and then break them.
Okay, yeah, you've said that a couple times.
Well, it's because that was my favorite part, was that it was this documentary.
Me too, but for some reason I'm just not as pissy about it as you.
It's fine. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. It just definitely took me out of it. Okay.
I like at least that it was a different aspect ratio and the picture quality was different. It was clearly saying, I am something different, so.
Yes. But that's why I was so what am I looking at? That was my question.
I think it's a reenactment of what he said happened.
It's a reenactment, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So they should have stopped it and been we are now going to show a reenactment of what we think happened.
That would have been kind of funny.
That would have been funny. I don't know. I don't actually want them to do it. It's just I guess my point is, if you want to tell the story, you can do
Matt,
what they... No, let me say what I'm saying.
No,
you can do what they did.
Our 7 listeners have gotten the point by now.
I'm saying you can do what they did and still use the constraints that you set up at the beginning of the movie. That's my whole point.
Okay, yes.
That's it. That's all I'll say.
Thank you for saying it for the 9th time.
Well,
I think we all
kept
needed
arguing
to hear
with me,
it. I'm only arguing that I think you can see it another way or not let it ruin the movie for you.
I didn't let it ruin.
Was there anything else in the movie beyond that you didn't like?
No, I don't think I have any other issues with it. I enjoyed.
So, out of a 90-minute movie, Matt disliked 2 minutes, but the rest, great.
Come on, to do it by time is silly, but that's fine.
I'm just saying. One thing
I think it makes it not stick the landing for me, is what I'm saying.
One thing that I saw on good old Twitter, X, whatever, was people were irritated that Lily didn't have a 70s voice.
They are correct.
But also, the only person in this who had a 70s voice was Jack. And maybe
even
the smoker guy.
Yeah,
that was.
It is interesting because dialects disappear and new ones form, and that is a thing. They're right. If you go and listen to old footage of people, no one talked like that girl did. No kid sounded like her, but that's fine.
But I'd also
I can have suspension of disbelief for. It's the teeth thing too.
What teeth thing?
Well, because most actors have veneers now, so when they do period pieces,
you're
it's you can't have pearly white straight teeth. Mm-hmm. So if you're an actor and you got fucked up teeth, Tom Cruise, leave them. It's important now.
Well,
his are messed up. So.
Well, they're fine. It's just that they're not centered right.
Yeah.
He just has one middle tooth.
But
other than that, they're actually straight. They're fine. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that took me out of it or it bothered me, at all. I am glad that they didn't make her do anything unnatural or weird, because it would have stood out had it not been a great period voice. And I really liked what she was doing. I thought her performance was actually really good and really convincing and unsettling. She is by far the most unsettling piece of this movie.
I agree with everything you're saying.
And it's because she sticks the landing with what she's doing. Yeah.
She was good. And maybe we can assume that the voice being not what it should be is part of her being unsettling. But I guess I'm just saying I understood their complaint. I don't think it's a necessary one, but I don't know how you get around that.
I feel the only 2 things I've seen about this movie, no, I'm not seeing anyone review it or review it positively. I'm seeing people that are I know that this girl has seen TikTok.
Yeah, it's not real criticism.
And I refuse to see this because of the AI art. And those are the only things I'm seeing about it, so.
Yeah.
But like I said, I really liked her. I found her incredibly unsettling between the looks she gives the camera, straight at the camera, the way she kind of holds her head in her posture, and the way they let her hair fall into her face is just uncomfortable. Just the way she delivers some of her lines to sound sweet, but they don't come across that way, even though the words might be kind. Yeah, everything about it, I bought into it, despite her modern voice.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to add.
Anything that you really liked about the movie that we haven't really gotten into? Because I feel like, for me, so much of the movie that I enjoyed was just the general aesthetic and the general mocking of the late night sphere.
I was going to say the structure of it. I just really like the late night setup of, they have to go to commercial constantly. And so I think that the way it's structured is really fun. So you can kind of like read the direction it's going. And I enjoyed that.
And I also, I guess because all the trailers make it seem like she is the main, like he's the main character, but she is the main guest that matters. And the fact that she is the last guest, it's not that it caught me off guard, but I thought that was fun to have this trailer that sets up like her being the big bad, I guess. And we get 2 other guests on the show first that kind of start setting up the creepy or the weird atmosphere and that things are going wrong. And then to bring out her last. Mm-hmm. Like to give us so much of the show.
Yeah, it's a good build up. I enjoyed.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily what I'd anticipated, so I liked it.
So, do you have any hot takes about this movie?
Well, apparently us saying go see it is a hot take.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yes. I think skipping it because it is AR and it is dumb, but I also think being mad about the AR art is okay. That's I've said everything I need to say about that.
I really do think this is going to be one of the best horror movies of the year. I don't know if that's a hot take.
It's March. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
That's a hot take, I would say.
Oh, I mean, it has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I don't know if it's a hot take to say that the 96%er will be the best.
Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm just saying.
Fine.
We do kind of agree with critics a lot of the time.
Sure.
So, like, in my head, it's going to be this, Longlegs, and Nosferatu, if that even ends up coming out this year. Oh, yeah,
Longlegs looks cool.
Like, those are going to be the top 3 for me. I'm just calling it now. So, my other hot take is just from seeing this. I'm like, horror is back, and 2020.
Back? It's been back. What do you mean?
No, 2024 horror is going to be so much better than 2023.
All right, fine. But we had Skinamarink in 2022. And we had When Evil Lurks last year. Skinamarink better than this. Sorry. Skinamarink like the best horror movie I've seen in 5 years.
Like you said, Skinamarink didn't it come out in 2022 and then the theatrical was 2023?
Is that how it worked? What do you say? I don't know.
Frankly, I don't know.
I don't remember at this point.
I would say beyond Skinamarink and When Evil Lurks for theatrical 2023. 2023 was a pretty weak year for me.
Okay, fine.
I didn't really like...
When did Nope come out? Was that
2022?
Oh, okay, fine. So 2023 was weak.
Along with Barbarian.
Oh, yeah. So 2022 rocked. So when you're saying it's back, I was like, what are you talking about back? It never left.
Well, it took a gap year.
All right, fine. Sabbatical.
Yeah. It just took a little break.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense, too, with a pandemic, that, like, there would be a period of time where things might not have been.
In production, yeah.
Yeah.
Or being written, who knows?
Yeah, so maybe that's my hot take. I don't know. Do you have one?
No. I don't have a hot take.
No hot takes.
I already spent 7 minutes on my hot take.
I guess you did.
I don't even think that's that hot of a take.
So are we ready for some Twitter takes?
Sure.
Do you have one to share with the class?
Mine's a good one, though.
That is not a terrible Twitter take,
I'm sorry. But they said, my only contribution to the AI art in Late Night with the Devil fiasco is that it is extremely frustrating to watch one of David Dastmalchian, you just told me how to pronounce it and I forgot.
Yep,
David's best performance ever get dragged into the middle of this mess. He had no input on whatsoever. I feel terrible for him. And I agree. Because he had no input. He acted his ass off and is really talented. And I hope it doesn't hurt his career that he was in this movie because of the AI things. That would be really dumb. And so if anyone allows that to hurt his career, you're trash. That's a terrible take.
I completely agree with that. I think that he did an amazing job, and I do think it is incredibly sad to think about the fact that so many artists worked so hard on this film just for, like, 5 seconds of screen time. to make people boycott the whole thing. And
we should also, and it wasn't their choice either. So we should also.
It's not like anyone how many people's decisions went into doing that? Like, most of the people working on the film had no say in that, and that just it just sucks.
I was also going to say you're kind of putting the blame on the boycotters. I think the other artists.
I certainly don't want to do that because I very much understand that, and I think we should boycott AI art. Like, I do.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be used. I just feel like I feel more frustrated. Like, Marvel has done it. Roadhouse did it.
Yeah.
And I'm just not seeing the same vitriol directed at them,
sure.
where I'm seeing it directed at an indie artist $2 million movie versus these $200 million movies.
I have two thoughts. First, I was going to say that the people in those movies should definitely be mad at the filmmakers that ended up choosing to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonably frustrated with them. My second thought is you make a really good point that I've never seen the hatred towards other stuff, like big budget. Do you think this is some kind of fucking psyop run by Warner Brothers to try to kill indie movies? This is my crazy conspiracy theory where they're paying people to bitch on Twitter and boycott the movie to try to distract from the fact that I don't know if it's Warner Brothers. I'm just there.
Whoever.
I just fucked David Zaslav and whatever. So, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's we're going to distract. We're going to do the real AI over here.
I bet Amazon's doing it because Roadhouse just came out and they used AI to replicate actor voices for
and
that
so they're
movie.
paying Twitter people.
Let's distract by using this movie that also just came out that has really good reviews.
Really
so people might see it anyway, and it's just an indie project, so who cares? So
I also feel bad though because there are plenty of people that I think have very valid complaints about there being AI art in here, and I do agree. That's where I'm very conflicted, where I'm yes, fuck AI art. We should not allow this to happen, but also that doesn't mean that we should fuck over this movie and fuck over this indie movie. I don't know what you're supposed to do here because it is a huge slippery slope. First, it's 3 seconds of still clips, then it's an effect, then it's a rough cut by AI, then it's music by AI, and where are we after that?
Well, we said, it's literally voices, apparently, in Roadhouse. I don't think they've confirmed that.
Then we're taking dead people's likenesses, which was already disgusting. We weren't using AI for it, though. We were using at least artists. It's still gross, but it gets even grosser. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's my rant. Do you have a good one? So
this one was a series of tweets, but I'll read 2 parts of it. Late Night with the Devil is a good example of a movie getting the period details right, but everything else about it, the camera movement, cinematography, performance, pacing, etc. is completely off. It's such a rare situation when the style of a film is so distracting that it's hard to fully register what the characters are saying. The actors seemed lost from scene to scene, so tension doesn't build. Nothing moves like it should.
So that was the tweet I was talking about earlier when I said that people were complaining about the not actually having the 70s style.
Whatever, you can interpret it that way. And if you were alive during the 70s, I'll give you that because I certainly wasn't. And I haven't watched Late Night from the 70s because I also don't watch Late Night now very often. But I feel like the camera movements still felt like the Late Night I have watched. Maybe not 70s.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe that makes it more contemporary. I disagree with them on the actors seeming lost, though. I thought that was a crazy take.
I think the performances are all great.
Yeah.
And so for them to say the actors seem lost, I think is wild. And like we've said, David is crushing. He is so good. Yeah. 10 out of 10 performance. I truly loved him, and I think he is the glue that really holds the movie, that is already a good movie, together. So implying that he feels lost is crazy to me. And I would argue that some of the characters seeming a little lost also fits the plot and what they should be doing in their performances. So, this is a late night show that's running off the rails. They should seem a little confused or out of it at points. Yeah. So, I didn't see any negatives to any of the acting that I saw. Also, for them to say that tension doesn't build, I don't personally agree with that either. I did feel like tension built.
Yeah, I think that's a weird take.
So, yeah, I don't agree with you, but
Me or you mean them?
Them.
Call them out. No, don't call them out.
I don't like
Only on Reddit.
people out.
I like doing it on Reddit, not on Twitter.
Well, because Reddit names are so weird and ambiguous. Like mine is something completely nonsense because I never want it to be tracked back to me, ever. Not that I say anything weird, I'm lurking in weird threads for reality TV shows I don't want people knowing I watch. Yeah. So we've done our hot takes, we've done our terrible takes. Did you have a favorite scene? Or a scariest scene?
I don't know. Maybe the hypnotism scene I thought was really fun because I liked the idea of us as the audience being hypnotized and everyone in the audience there being hypnotized. Thought that was cool. Probably when her head split. That was the coolest part.
Yeah. I think the scariest to me was the hypnotism with the worm.
Yeah.
And the itching, because that kind of shit is really gross to me. I don't like being itchy. I don't want to feel like there's something in me. Like, it's... I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
I just wasn't sure what was actually going on for a while. I was like, is everyone hypnotized? Am I hypnotized? How are we seeing worms?
They showed, they had us as the audience look at the...
Yes. Again, I was saying because I was viewing it as it was actually a documentary. I was like, I would then, after it happened, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. We were hypnotized as the audience. Cool.
Yeah.
But, when it first happened, I was like, okay, if this is a documentary, then worms have to actually be coming out of him. How did they fake this? And then I was like, okay, no, the hypnotism element makes sense.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
And probably the scariest part for me...
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was fun. I liked when she fully transformed and her head split, and that was scary, and she started killing everybody. That was pretty cool. When Lily did it, couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What do we feel like this movie meant?
I don't see any major themes in this that aren't surface level. It's, be careful what you wish for type shit. It's Hollywood elite is evil type.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
It was very... Hollywood elite is evil. Don't be a...
Men specifically.
Yeah, men suck. Don't be a selfish shithead. He very much makes decisions for his own career. He clearly didn't think through the consequences of any of his actions beyond it getting where he wanted to.
Yep.
And this is why you should care about other people. And,
Well, he did. He did care about her. He just also cared about fame too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also made it... It's hard to say if he inadvertently, sacrificed her or he purposely chose to.
Okay, but if you're in a cult with a bunch of people in masks and they tell you to drink some, liquid that you could be...
It's peer pressure,
blood, and then what do you think you're sacrificing?
Yeah.
You're sacrificing something.
Yeah.
So...
No, hey, that's how people get famous. People do a lot of bad shit to get famous. So.
And I think the movie's saying that...
Don't do it.
Fuck you for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's pretty on the surface what it's saying, and I don't really know what it's saying beyond that.
Did you see what, I can't think of her name, Rebecca Ferguson said about MGM for Dune?
No.
Well, the guy was talking to her, they're doing an interview, and they said to her, oh, yeah, so, and the Fremen, they have to, jump on a worm to earn their stripes. And she goes, yeah, you had to do the same thing back in MGM, or at MGM back in the day. It was I'm butchering the joke, but it was something along the lines of that. And yeah, not good. Not good that we have to do crazy things to get famous. So, or put ourselves in compromising situations. So
that's why our podcast will never take off, because I am not willing to sacrifice anyone.
Yep.
That's the whole reason. The only reason why we don't have tons of ad sponsors right now is because I'm not willing to sacrifice my husband in a satanic ritual. Maybe I just should. It'll be just horror hour with the Hannah.
You could always find another Hannah. There's a lot of them. Pretty common name.
Yeah, I have a pretty cliche name. That's okay. Ratings?
Yeah, sure. I got mine.
I have mine too.
I'm going to give it a 7.9 out of 10.
Oh, shit.
I didn't want to give it an 8 for some reason. I don't know. It's probably an 8, but I was feeling this conversation made me want to give it a 7.9.
That's so funny, because talking about it, I got really, passionate about it, which made me want to give it higher.
Because you were defending it, because I was complaining
I felt like
about
I had to
scene.
defend it, yeah.
That's fine.
I felt like I had to defend it against you and the Twitter and the TikTok. And
I liked the movie. I just have one issue. And I stand by it.
And that issue made you drop the rating by 2.1 points.
No, I mean, I would say the AI is an issue. It's also just not... It's not, like, amazing. It's not one that's going to, like, stick with me for a long time. It's good.
I'd put it in my upper echelon of found footage movies.
Yeah, I would hope.
Top 3.
Yeah, it's a great setup. I think it's a lot of fun. Fine, I'll give it an 8. I'll bump it to an 8.
Yesterday I was thinking 8, but now part of me wants to give it like an 8.4 or something.
Do it.
Or like maybe an 8.2.
No, I think it's good. I just like it's not... I don't know. I just feel like it's not going to stick with me. It's like not like groundbreaking, but I liked it, and I think people should see it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I feel like it's more creative than a lot of other things we've covered, but less creative than some of the other stuff.
It also just didn't leave me feeling
that
like
is, I
shook
think,
or scared.
I think that is where the drop in my rating goes, because like I love The Witch, and the first time I saw it, I felt like legitimately tense. Do I feel that now? No, because I know what happens. But the first time I saw it, like I felt this impending doom in my chest. Same with like Midsommar. Hereditary, I still feel it every time. Hereditary, I still feel fucking awful. And like these are all movies that I feel like are doing something different or unique than the standard, like I said, standard possession movie. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I wouldn't put it up there in those leagues, but I would put it in the league right below.
Nice. Okay.
Like it's maybe there, like it made the major leagues, but it's not Bryce Harper.
This is a ramble.
It's not Bryce Harper. You know?
Oh, sure. I'm not a Phillies fan. Yeah, it's not I'm Andrew McCutchen. Oh, he played for the Phillies at one point too.
He did,
I'm a Pirates
so
fan.
that's funny.
Yeah, all right. I'm done. I can't talk about this anymore.
Okay. He's not Chase Utley.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm Matt Hanna.
I'm Hannah.
Go see indie movies. Pay to see this. AIR, it sucks, though. And
pros and cons.
Yeah, our government should probably do something about it. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!